What is up, guys? Del Boy here. So, Saddam Ali will be making his first defence of his WBO super welterweight title that he won back in December against Miguel Cotto in an upset victory. He's defending against mandatory challenger Liam Smith. Obviously, Liam Smith held this belt in the past. He won it against John Thompson back in 2015. He had a couple of weak defences when he fought Canelo Alvarez in September 2016 and got decisively beaten. Since then, he's come back with a couple of victories over domestic rival Liam Williams. This, to me, is a decent fight, I have to say. I think it's hard to gauge where Saddam Ali is at as a champion in a sense, because he won it off Cotto in a fight where he boxed very well and it was an upset victory, so he deserves a lot of credit. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself how much of that was down to Cotto being well past his best, and not only that, Cotto just underestimating Saddam Ali, because Ali was a guy who was essentially a cherry pick for Cotto's last fight. A lot of people at the time weren't happy about the fight. They felt it was weak. You know, Ali was coming up from welterweight in a division where he's already been knocked out against Jesse Vargas. You know, Jesse Vargas isn't the biggest puncher in the world. He's also struggled in quite a few fights, notably against the likes of Jeremy Bryan, for example. So, going into the Cotto fight, nobody really had any high hopes of Saddam Ali doing anything, but he did pull off a victory. He deserves a lot of credit, but at the same time, you have to ask yourself a question: how much of that was down to Cotto just being shot, basically? We'll find out in this fight, because Liam Smith, to me, is a guy who is... He's not a world-class fighter, as far as I'm concerned, but he's steady, he's solid, he's tough, he's durable, and he comes to fight. Liam Smith's a guy who likes to fight on the front foot. He likes to utilise a high guard, try and pick your shots on his guard, and come back with hooks, body shots, and he likes to apply pressure. You know, he does provide steady pressure, and he has okay power. You know, Smith is one of those guys who is a solid European level operator, and his wins over the likes of Liam Williams prove that. And the point is, I've seen a lot of fighters worse than Liam Smith give Saddam Ali a lot of issues. Like I said, back at welterweight, Jeremy Bryan gave Saddam Ali a lot of problems, you know. I felt Santana gave Ali some issues. After the Vargas defeat, I felt he didn't look great against, you know, Johan Perez and Sal Corral, you know. My point is, I've seen quite a few Saddam Ali fights, and I've only ever really been impressed in two of his fights, against Cotto and against Abregu. So 2 fights out of what? I must have seen 6, 7, 8 fights of Saddam Ali's, and they're the only 2 fights that have really impressed me. So, you know, Saddam Ali could be one of these fighters who blows hot and cold. On his day, he could give guys a lot of issues with his hand speed and his foot speed and his athleticism. But I feel that with Saddam Ali, and we saw this in the fight with Jesse Vargas, he actually has a lack of fundamentals, because go back and watch that fight. In the first few rounds, both guys were... Ali was he was competing with Jesse Vargas with his athleticism and his quickness. He was landing some good shots. Don't get me wrong, Vargas was boxing well, but Ali was having success as well. But as soon as Ali started to fade a little bit, his lack of fundamentals became apparent, because Jesse Vargas is a steady Eddie type fighter. He does everything well. He has good technique. He can counter punch. He's defensively responsible. He can judge the distance well. And you saw, as Ali got more tired, the better technique of Vargas was really shining through. So I feel that Ali, his fundamentals are not that great, in my opinion. You know, he's flashy. He's got quick hands, he's got quick feet, he's nice and athletic, and he's got a little bit of pop. But to me, his fundamentals are not the best. You know, he like backs up with his chin in the air. He'll sort of try to evade punches with his hands down. You know, throwing punches where he's not really in the position to throw them, and he gets countered. Things of that nature. I feel that defensively he is vulnerable to a good counter puncher, and a good technician could give him issues, especially down the stretch, as we saw with Jesse Vargas. But he did show some improvements against Cotto. I thought he was a bit more measured. He was a little less erratic in terms of his foot movement and his combination punching. He was less erratic in the Cotto fight. There were still moments when he was getting caught, but he held it together much better than I've seen him hold it together so far as a pro. So maybe he is improving. Maybe the experience of the Jesse Vargas fight and earlier tough fights have improved him. So that's always a possibility. But he just seems like that guy who, he is vulnerable. But stylistically, I do think this fight favours Sadam Ali. Liam Smith, like I said, is a guy who likes to come forward behind a high guard. The only issue with that is, technically he throws his shots well, like a Jesse Vargas, in terms of his hooks and whatnot, but he doesn't jab. Liam Smith has no jab. Look at Jesse Vargas's jab. That jab was pinpoint in that fight, really accurate. Liam Smith's jab is okay when he uses it. It can be quite a stiff jab, but he's never used it enough. And I feel in this fight, that's going to lose him the fight. When he's walking down Sadam Ali, he's not going to be able to close the distance that effectively. Jabbing Ali back and then working your way in is going to be more beneficial in my opinion. But Liam Smith just doesn't do that. He just comes forward trying to take his opponent's shots on the gloves, and then he'll do his own work kind of thing. Sometimes he'll counter on the front foot, and that could have some success against Sadam Ali. Like I said, Ali is very erratic at times, and he does leave his chin there to be tagged. Smith is good. He can be good at countering on the front foot. Again, not his forte, but he can do it. If Liam Smith could consistently jab behind that high guard and try to counter on the front foot, he can have success against Sadam Ali. He can do it. But the thing with Liam Smith, like I said, he can do these things, but he just doesn't put it together, in my opinion. He just reverts to a basic pressure fighter, basically, high guard, and he'll throw some hooks to the body and the head. He's also pretty handy on the inside, which could be a benefit against Sadam Ali. I felt that was another area where Jesse Vargas had success. When that fight was on the inside, Vargas was much more accomplished than Sadam Ali. So if Liam Smith could get it on the inside, he can have success. He's got a nice right uppercut on the inside, and he can time you well on the inside. So I feel Liam Smith has things that could trouble Ali. It's just whether he puts it together on a night. I think he can make it a tough fight for Ali, but I just feel that he's not complete enough to beat him. I feel that the foot speed and the hand speed of Ali is going to give Liam Smith a lot of issues. The jab of Ali, although it's not a great jab, it's going to be a constant nuisance to Liam Smith, and it's going to pick up points. He also has a nice quick right hand behind that jab, which can be a flashy punch that would catch the judge's attention, so that's going for him. I just feel that Ali is going to be the guy moving. He's going to be the guy using a consistent jab, and I feel he's going to fight like an in and out type style in this fight, almost like an Amir Khan, where he's utilising his jab, he's utilising his foot speed, and he'll throw the odd combination here and there, get in and out, and reset and rinse and repeat kind of thing. I feel that's the way he's gonna approach this fight, and that's how he's gonna win this fight. Like I said, that style that Ali has, I think will come unstuck at a higher level. And I know he beat Cotto, but again, we have to put that in perspective. The best prime fighter he fought was Jesse Vargas, and to me, Vargas exposed his flaws in that fight. Vargas boxed a very good fight that night, and that's a really underrated performance against Sadam Ali. Go back and watch that fight. But I do like this fight. I think it's an ideal first defence for Sadam Ali. Liam Smith's a guy who, like I said, he's tough. He comes to fight. He's got a little bit of power. Good body puncher. Good on the inside. Good high guard. He'll come to fight, and he'll give Sadam Ali some work. And he could win the fight. I feel that Ali is beatable, but I just feel stylistically it plays into Ali's hands more than it plays into Liam Smith's hands. I like this fight. I think it's a good fight. It's well matched. I'm looking forward to it. What do you guys think? Peace.